Yo, JD here, and as you can see on F1 2017 as usual, and this is a wet race gameplay that I thought would be pretty good to share, because obviously I'm preparing for the Pro Draft soon, which starts in early July, and I've been doing a lot of wet racing online, and this was a pretty good one. If I remember, I did this, I think it was a week or so ago now, so we started off in first place, getting quite a bad start. I still need to nail my starts in the wet, and we have a quite intense, definitely test my patience quite a bit in this race, as you'll be able to see in a very few short second time. So trying to get a very good exit here, but Forza TDM has lost the car, which now puts us back towards almost the very back of the grid. And you can see once we go on the grass, we just have absolutely no grip at all. And as I've always said in my videos, the best way to improve, I feel, has been racing online, because you just have so many different variables. It really does test your patience. As you can see, someone's always just taken out the brake reference board, the 50-meter board, which you use to pretty much turn in here, because unlike racing AIs, we're being pushed from behind as well. Unlike the racing AI, anything can happen online. You have lag, you have drivers who may not be as experienced, so it really does test your reactions as much as possible. And I feel this is a really good lobby here, so we're going to go down the inside, trying to make up with positions back into first place, because I felt in the lobbies before, so I was doing the wet, I felt my wet pace has definitely come a long way, and I might start doing some wet time trials, actually chasing the world record in the wet. Any tracks you want me to do. I think I'm going to be doing the Red Bull around Monaco next, as someone just, I don't know what he was doing. He's braking so early. We just couldn't even do anything coming to that corner there, because he's losing the car, but back into fourth place. I'm not quite sure who is in the lead here, but we're going to try and stay ahead of here. So I'm not going to rate it out, so I'm going to go down the inside, because I really thought I was going to get dive bomb, which we do. Getting pushed out wide. It's just pretty much a typical sprint mode, really. Not really anything that I'm not really used to, but we're going to go back down the inside once again. So really just trying to get more comfortable with the racecraft in these conditions. You can see making up position. I think we just about got ahead of him, which we do, so managed to get back into fifth place now. And the person ahead of me, I think we've raced him quite a lot of times in sprint mode, so he's a fairly familiar face, and he goes out a little bit out wide, so we're going to try and get ahead of him, but actually been spun round and just about making it round the corner. So gone from first to seventh, now back into fourth again, and now it's time to really try and catch these guys. And this is just basically just some raw gameplay of just me just continuing to just get better. I always just try and get better every single day. The setup I'm using here is pretty much what I used in AOR. I think it's 611 wings with 10 ballast. The only thing I changed was just my differential. I put it down to 70, which I think is perfect for intermediate conditions. In full wet conditions, I would put it to 50. Basically, with the differential, what that does is the lower it is, the easier the traction is, but you don't get as much benefit of the raw speed that you could get, if that makes sense. You don't get the potential acceleration as we're fighting the car here. So you can see really fighting this. But if you put it on 100 differential, which I do in a dry, it's harder to do the traction, but if you get the biting point right, it gives you a much better launch off the corner effectively. So that's why in the wet you really want to be putting it a little bit further down than normal, because it just really helps stopping the car from stepping out, really, which is what you want in wet conditions, and which is why you always see me in a lower differential as well. And you can see with the fuel mixtures, I said in another video as well, in intermediates you can get away running just standard and rich. I'm really just using lean here just to save a little bit of fuel, but in full wet conditions you really do want to be using lean throughout all the corners as much as possible. And we've actually raised the force feedback a bit as well, something I do recommend if you're on the wheel. In these conditions, I'd raise it by about 5 or 10 along the force feedback scale, because on the wheel in the wet you definitely lose that feeling, whereas on the controller, the reason why I feel so comfortable with the controller, and probably better for the controller in the wet, is you actually get more feeling with the controller in the wet than you do in the dry. The actual vibration is actually even more enhanced, if you know what I mean. But in the wheel you actually lose force feedback in the wet, so I would recommend actually ramping up. Normally I run on 55% now force feedback, but I think this is like 65 now, so it just gives me a little bit more extra feel with the car, which I think is really important. You really want to have a setting where it's not too heavy on the steering, but just you can feel when it starts to lose grip. You just want it to be on that biting point, that edge point where you can start to feel at the last moment where it loses grip, because I used to run on a very heavy setting, but I felt it was a little bit too heavy. You don't want it too much, as No Scope has lost the car a little bit in front of us. He's going to go out wide, so we should hopefully get down into the podium position now, which you do, controlling the car nicely, a nice little snap of oversteer, and that's us into third place now. But as I said, with the force feedback settings, you don't really want it to be mega strong. You want it to be light enough where basically you could drive with one hand. It's not going to be easy to drive one hand, but you want to be that kind of force feedback. And for me personally, I don't like it to rumble too much in the curbs, because I really just feel that kind of puts me off balance with the wheel. You want it just enough where you do feel it, but it just doesn't really knock the wheel off your hands, if you know what I mean. But now, coming towards the end of this penultimate lap, we've got a lap to go after this, and I'm going to go behind AOR Charlie and just to see what we can do here. So getting a nice exit of here. We won't go so in fast out, which we managed to get a very, very nice exit off this now. Braking about 100 meter board nicely down the inside. Got AOR Benjamin ahead of us, and we're going to try and set our heights on as AOR Charlie goes down the inside. Once again, we're going to leave room on the inside. Still leaving room, and we've actually been spun round, and yeah, pretty annoying. But as I said, that's why I really recommend playing online, because unlike playing with the AI are not really that aggressive from this game. Even the 110% AI, I really feel it's a good experience to actually have that, as AOR Charlie lets us back pass. So big respect to him. You didn't really need to do it. It's not really that serious, but still really big respect for him for doing it. I always appreciate when someone actually does that. But I feel that's why you should really be racing online, is you're just going to have these scenarios where, as I said, the connection and just the variety of different ability levels of the drivers as well. Some drivers are going to be super aggressive. It really does force you to just kind of deal with that pressure and just those different situations, different scenarios, which you can definitely transfer into league racing, because normally in league racing people are a lot calmer. You're not going to be dive bombed as much, but you still going to have aggressive drivers and real players online. So I really feel it just sharpens your reactions just a lot more than it would do if you played a career mode or something like that. Career mode is really good fun, just progressing obviously, but I think if you want to actually progress as a driver, a good example is watching Ben team at Marduk recently. He's progressed massively and he's been doing a lot of league races, so I really feel that is the way. But we're going to still try and fight. I think a podium is just out of reach now, but going to try and get a good exit off here. We always get a really good exit off here, a really good slingshot corner. But I'm actually really happy with the progress I've made. As I said, this is almost 2 weeks ago now, and my wheel pace is even better. I'll be releasing a video comparing my times against the esports race I did. And it's very surprising actually of how close it really is. There really isn't much difference at all. We're losing the car again, but just about saving it. So just trying to end in style. But as I said, hopefully this gives you a good insight to my progress and just how to improve as well. As always, thank you so much for supporting my channel. It really does mean so much to me, and 36,000 subscribers, it means absolutely everything. Tomorrow's video, I'll be talking about F1 2019, the real life F1, of how we can actually improve it. Please keep commenting on my tweet, which I did the other day. So many amazing comments. But as always, thank you for watching, and I will see you tomorrow. Peace.